A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there to my channel, the Twin Flame Union. And this is the part 2 of the channeling session. Divine Masculine feels that if he has the Divine Feminine, everything will be alright. In the part 1, I had explained the emotions and the feelings of the Divine Masculine and the energy that he has. But in part 1, I had not mentioned, because that was for part 2, that how this actually happens. How is this even possible? Somebody who didn't even want to talk to the Divine Feminine, who had blocked her, who didn't even want to see her face, how is that person saying such a big thing or even feeling so much love for her? Before this love is seen by people in their own realities, this love is first experienced in the 5D realm. In their minds, in their souls, in their hearts, this love is first felt by the Divine Masculine. And when he cannot take it anymore, when he cannot, feel complete without her, that's when he shares this with her. Or that's when he feels this way, that if he has her, everything is going to be fine. And let me tell you one more thing, that union is perceived differently by different people. Not all people see union as the same way. So, whatever union means for you, that is union. Whatever it means for you. There are many Divine Feminines who don't want to get married. There are many Divine Feminines who don't want to do a public engagement. There are many Divine Feminines who are very busy with the mission work. There are many types of Divine Feminines who are very successful in their careers, in their businesses, so they want to pursue it further because it made them happy at one point in time when nothing else made them happy. Especially when the Divine Masculine had run away and they had nothing to do and they were feeling so low. It was their mission, it was their work, it was something that they loved, something that had equal amount of love that they feel or felt for the Divine Masculine. That is something that gave them life. So now they don't want to let that happiness and that peace go. But to be very honest, for all those people who are really looking for a union, really they want a union, then they have to first stop chasing the union. Because when you chase the union, you do the same thing that you're doing with the Divine Masculine. So let's get started and let's dive into this particular channeling sessions, part 2, which is also the final part. It so happened that the Divine Feminine or even the Divine Masculine, they cannot find true love or the connection to source, which is actually true love. He finds it via the Divine Feminine and she finds it via herself. After she gets humiliated and she feels that she has stooped very low in terms of keeping her self-respect aside. And at that point in time, because she has not been in her own self, her self-esteem was so low. When she begs him for, communication, when she keeps calling him, messaging him, trying to contact him, trying to convince him to be with her, that please be with me, I am the one you love and you'll always love me and we'll be happy together, don't do this to me, please honey, please this, that, baby, whatever. And he doesn't care a damn. In most cases, this is how it happens. In some of the other cases, where this type of conversation hasn't taken place, but a certain to and fro happens between the man and woman, between the Divine Masculine and the Feminine, where he keeps dropping her signs or hinting that he wants to be with her, he will plan something with her, he will plan a date, or he will plan to take her out. I mean, they do go out, but in a romantic gesture, he wants to, he gives her those signs. He gives her that feeling that I love you and it is real love. And she, after seeing those signs, she also gets very elated and she is very happy. And suddenly he just vanishes. He just starts ignoring her. They don't talk. There is nothing, no explanation given. He just walks out. And after a few days or few months or few weeks, she finds out that he is married to someone or he is in a relationship with someone and he's very happy with her. He's living a fantasy life with her. And that really hurts her. Not only she feels very cheated, but she also feels that, was it always one-sided? Was he never really there for me? Was he not dropping those hints and those signs? And if he loved me and if he wanted me and if he had shared his life with me, like, in some of the conversations, they were intense and they spoke about certain things. In many ways, the divine masculine had actually shared a lot with her and he had given her those signs that he wants to be with her. But when he makes another choice, that's the time it's really discovered that she wasn't the one he wanted to be with, clearly, right? Another classic case is when they are dating, they're both happy, everything is going fine, and she, wants something more from this commitment or this dating or whatever is happening. And while they're going through some kind of difficulties with each other, he chooses something else like a job, or he moves to another city, or he just simply shows to her that she's not important for me. Like when she says that, what do you feel for me? Don't you love me? Don't you want to be with me? Don't you want us to be together? You never plan for anything. You never discuss anything. And he tells her that, look, I have my career, I have my job, I have to make money, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go travel, I want to, I have so many things to do. These are all classic cases basically, and he doesn't even care about her feelings, what she would think, he just starts ignoring her by saying that, I have to focus on something better. And as it is with you, I'm not happy, we are always fighting. So he uses the fights, or in most cases, there are always, the masculines always have an excuse, a very good excuse. But because of that excuse, it is the divine feminine's self-respect that gets really hurt. She's very hurt, she's very injured, she's very wounded after that. Those of the divine feminines who are chasing the divine masculine or the union, even after all of this, they really need to work on the self-respect. They really need to wake up. They really need to wake up. There are some who are obviously very angry. They write angry comments, and you must have noticed that sometimes I like the angry comments also. I make a heart on that. Why? Because it's alright to be angry in the moment. It's okay, to feel that way as well. But in the long run, that anger has to be understood. If you're continuously going to get angry, you're going to start abusing everyone around, you're going to, start questioning everyone around, you start abusing or accusing the channeler also, or the whole world or the whole concept, then that way you will get deviated from the problem. The problem is that your anger is justified. But why is this happening? Why is the divine masculine doing this to you? Why is he so focused on his work, on the priorities, or say travel, or something else that he chooses? Or why is he so committed to the new girl he is with? Why is he doing that? Why not you? Why not you the priority? Why them? And why he's so nice to those things, or he's so devoted? His devotion, his dedication is so high, with them or with those things. But why that devotion is not there when it comes to you? These are all the questions she asks. In some cases, the divine masculine really loves her, but he doesn't want to say anything mean to her. So he prefers to ignore her. Because he's like, I know he can see it, he can feel it. I know she loves me a lot. And I've also loved her a lot. And I've always wanted true love. But I don't know why I don't feel that connection with her. I don't want to do this anymore. It's too intense. It's too difficult. It's way too emotional. Or she's way too sensitive. Or she always hurts me. In some cases, it's the divine masculine who feels she's so mean to me. She's so bad to me. She hurts me. It's basically the ego that gets hurt. But he has that stance with her that, even though I love her, she's a really mean person. She's not a good person. It's better that I focus on my work, or it's better I focus on myself or whatever I love, because at that point in time, the divine masculine's understanding of true love is also warped. It's not in the right place. So he cannot see it from that comfort view. He finds it very uncomfortable. He finds it very difficult to understand her or to be with her or to do whatever is required from him. Now, what happens is that these are 3 classic cases, but there are many classic cases like that. Let me tell you, one more, so that you all can kind of relate with this channeling. So there is a divine feminine. She got married to someone, and she always knew that this is a unreal marriage because it was a materialistic or extremely sexual marriage where some amount of money was also given to the groom. Maybe the parents wanted to, get her married too soon, or she herself did not want to be with her family. She did not like her own house, and she thought that maybe after marriage, my life will change and I will at least be free from all of this that I'm into right now. So she gets married, and after getting married, it's even worse. There is abuse, there is toxicity, there could even be physical abuse, there could be rape, there could be sexual abuse, all sorts of things, plus a lot of financial crisis, lot of pressure. She goes through a lot for all of these years, and eventually she becomes stronger, better, and she gets out of it. So she has learned to find some sort of happiness and contentment and peace by letting go of what is not needed, or by being, too dependent on things, that somebody will take care of me, somebody will make me feel happy, somebody will, look after me, and things like that. She becomes independent, she's out of that. And then she attracts the divine masculine. After attracting the divine masculine, she goes like, oh my God, this is the person I'm really in love with. I was looking for this type of a commitment or a relationship. More than a commitment, because she's already been in commitment, that too for so many years. Now she's not really looking for commitment. Now she's only looking for companionship. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to get engaged for the world. Rather, she wants to have a true companion where the commitment is done from the heart. The commitment is given from the soul. There is no paperwork required. There is no validation, no proof required. Like how it happens in the regular world, for everything they have a paper. A child is born, they create a birth certificate. There's a validation. Without the birth certificate, the child's existence is zero. It's questionable. Even the child is born or not. As you keep growing up, there is a paperwork required for everything. The paperwork is required in schooling, the paperwork is required in college, then further paperwork is required. So in the corporate world, the big difference in corporate world, business, and doing what you love is when you do what you love, you don't require other people's paperwork or approval. Even if you earn money, even if you store money in a bank account, that type of paperwork you are accepting. But if you look for a corporate job, you will see that you have to make a resume. I'm not demotivating those people who have jobs right now, because I'm sure there's a brighter side to that also, which I have personally felt. I wanted to say the word field in my field, and I mixed feel and felt. Field and felt. Anyway, so in my field, I feel that all of this resume building, giving proofs, because I come from the artistic community. In the artistic community, less proof is required, less paperwork is required. If you're a good artist, if you can paint well, that's more than enough. If you have that confidence, if you love what you do, that's more. You can paint a stone also, you can paint a rock also. But when a painter has to run his house, then he needs validation from other people. So there is this whole theme of collecting paperwork, walking around with paperwork. That I worked with this company, I have 10 years of experience, here's the paperwork. Now the paperwork is converting into online paperwork. So everybody has a number. This is also required. Sometimes the government has to run smoothly. If you do not do all these things, how will the government run? Right? How will the government run? There are so many people. How will they manage all of those people? How will they manage voting? How will they manage anything? So the governments need these systems and procedures, all right, to run the country, the state, the world, wherever people are in. But then this is done so that you can operate in the worldly world. so that there is less of chaos, so that everything is organized, or at least they try to make it organized. You can take it in a negative way, you can take it in a positive way. It's totally up to you. You can take it whichever way you want. But when you do something you love, you don't need any validation. You just love it. That's the beauty of love. You love it. The problem with divine feminine arises in this classic case. The fourth classic case is she becomes too attached with the masculine, as in, the hanging out part, the physical availability or the physical presence. That becomes way too important for her, because she is not looking for a paper commitment. That is not required at all. In twin flame journey, most of the divine feminines should be like this. Most of them. They should not be needing any validation or proof from the divine masculine that he loves her. Whatever she knows, that is the truth. Whatever she feels, that is the truth, basically. So, in this, when she gets too attached, too expectant, too needy is the right word. That he should be around me, he should do this for me, he should do that for me, or he should show me around, he should hold my hand, and he should give a proof to the world that he loves me and only me, despite all the differences we have, because there could be differences. After all, she's already ended one marriage. So on and so forth, It's not always about age. Maybe this person she met is equal age. He also never got married. He was also waiting for the right person. But when do all of these divine masculines start running away? They start running away when she loses her own essence. She's so needy, she's so dependent, she's so low on self-esteem and self-respect that she keeps looking at him for everything. She wants him to make her happy all the time. She wants him to love her, she wants him to commit to her, she wants him to do this, she wants, basically scream on a cliff of the mountain and scream and say, with a loudspeaker that he loves her. If even that can happen, they would want that also. It's not always about condescending the divine masculine. Sometimes, all you divine feminines, I have always praised you a lot. But if you're only here for praises, you're only here for, because this channeler is so feminine pro, then I like her because she is always talking highly about the feminines, and the masculines are so stupid masculines, foolish masculines. That's why I like her. That is not the case. I'm sorry to say that, but there are many of the divine masculines who are listening to me as well, and they also contact me for readings, and they tell me that I am the divine masculine. And no, but I really like your channeling, or I like this thing, because you put the things very, very straightforward way, and I connected with that. So I am not here to condescend anyone, but I also have to call spade a spade. I have to say it. If the divine feminine is needy, she is needy. If she is looking for validation, she is looking for validation. If you're not going to be honest, then you cannot work. So all of these examples, all of these classic cases of separation or so-called twin flame separations where the divine feminines are looking for a certain thing, there are also some divine feminines who are very, very hippie-ish. They are very big time, free souls, very free, They want to grow their own vegetables, they want to farm, they want to dress up in a certain way, they want to do this, they want to do that. So then they also, they say, I don't want any commitment, I don't want money, I don't want this, I don't want that. But they find the divine masculine, but they also see that the divine masculine is talking to so many other people also, so many other women also, especially. From the divine masculine's perspective, he's talking to everyone. He's not seeing the gender of that person. He's not just sleeping around with everyone. He's just spending time with others. He's talking to them. And she is there with everyone. But there is so much jealousy, there's so much envy that she cannot tolerate that, he's talking to others. They are free. They are very free, but not fully free yet. Then in this case, we talk about the love of Radha and Krishna. Of course, the divine masculine has to be that good also. He also has to be that awakened and aware. If he is not, then he will be having fun with everyone. Then he is actually just exchanging his energy. And he is also very addicted to sex, or he's very addicted to all the fleshy, not flashy, fleshy things. The divine masculine has to be advanced enough that he does not get addicted, or he's not after the body. That's why when he falls in love with the divine feminine, he falls in love with her soul. And when she becomes that free-spirited, fully free-spirited person, she knows that even she talks to a lot of men. But she does not feel the same way she feels for the divine masculine. And if the divine masculine starts creating problems, that you are talking to this guy, that guy, and she says, oh, he's my student. Oh, no, but you were too close to him. I don't like that closeness. Or he just questions her, like if she's working with someone on a project, there's a colleague, and he goes like, I'm not in acceptance of whatever you're doing. You're with too many men. Of course, she's not going to like it too. So both of them have to come to that standpoint that if both of them are living in a hippie world, in a free world, where there is no need for saying something. If you're sitting under the tree with a girl and only with that woman, she knows and he knows. So there are, as I said, there are different levels of unions, so many different levels of unions, so many types of unions, that it's better we don't get constricted or restricted to one. We should just know that when they are with each other, when they love each other, it is not required to look for any validation. So Radha and Krishna were in love with each other, but Radha had many friends who also used to live in the same village, and they were called the gopis. All of these gopis, they had also fallen in love with Sri Krishna. So Radha loved Sri Krishna loved Radha. Okay? But the gopis, they fell in love with him as well. Like there were many times when the gopis used to assist Radha, or they used to keep a watch, when she would be meeting Krishna in privacy. Say 3 of the gopis would keep a watch just in case the mother comes, or just in case someone else comes. They would raise an alarm and tell the lovers to leave from there, or fasten, or whatever, hurry up or whatever. So they would be sitting there and waiting. But even though they felt extreme amount of love for Krishna, but they also felt extreme amount of love for Radha. And they were very happy for both of them. However, secretly they wanted their own Krishna. And all of these girls they were very close friends with each other. And imagine if normally you find out that your friend also loves your boyfriend, how would you feel? Or how if she loves your man, you would not like it at all. You would want to kill that lady or whosoever it is. But in case of Radha, because she was the divine feminine and she was also one of the Lakshmi's reincarnation, she did not have that. That was her life purpose. She did not have any jealousy, anything.